Introducing a new party. We live stream Monday through Thursday 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this panel show are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this channel, its affiliates, sponsors, or production team. This content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. We encourage respectful dialogue and critical thinking around the topics discussed.
It's gonna come out how it come out. You feel me? Yo, none of this is rehearsed. Everything is off the top.
Vulgar. Welcome to the man cave.
Yo, what's good? Welcome back on this Wednesday night to the man cave. Yeah, we got a good show for y'all tonight. Y'all see the main topic. We're going to get to that, but we got a few important things to cover. I'm going to hand this over to Gray. Let him take it on from here for a little bit. Go ahead,
Okay.
Gray.
For sure. Appreciate it. So Chris is our guest tonight. Chris actually was a part of January 6th. And so we'll get into the story. We really appreciate Chris coming. Chris, so this is your first time here. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Monroe Township, New Jersey, kind of a rural area. And then, became an electrician and had to go to college, right? So I went to Rutgers. I didn't necessarily go to Rutgers, but I did get a apartment building right across the street from the girls' dormitory. So then I spent a bunch of time there. And then I resided in North Brunswick, up until January 6th.
What's a childhood memory or experience that shaped who you are today?
Not really. I was actually 9/11 did a little bit. I wanted to join the Army first, Marines second. And because of food allergies, they denied me. They told me I could never kick doors and maybe I could go on a ship somewhere. I didn't want to do that. That and then just seeing, the country slowly decline with government overreach over the years.
For sure. Who was your biggest role model growing up, and what did you learn from them?
Growing up, I had a history teacher, Mr. Gorman, freshman year. Taught me for the first time the real history of America. Fast forward 20 years. I start reading some of the books of the Killing series. I forgot who put them out. But everything that I learned in Gorman's class was actually, it showed up later in those books. I think that our history is critical to us not repeating it again, so it would have to be Mr. Gorman. My father as well, and then friends, along the way.
For sure. What was your first job, and what did it teach you about life?
My first job, I worked as a pizza delivery boy, also as a waiter, kind of flip-flop those. I was working 40 plus hours and going to school at the same time. But before that, even I was working odd jobs doing, whether it be gardening or mowing lawns or stuff like that.
For sure. I appreciate you answering all the questions. I'll let Enzo go. I know he's the person that found you and brought you on the podcast.
So yeah, welcome, Chris.
Thanks for having me.
To ask. No, I appreciate you even coming up on my live and showing me everything that you've sent over to me so far. I've been combing through everything myself. So I don't even know what to ask right now, to be honest with you.
Do you
Just
want
come
to
back to me? Yeah.
All right, Vulgar. So Chris was a part of January 6th, and then now he's doing prison reform. Do you have some questions you want to ask him?
Let's see. So how do you think being charged and serving time changed your view of America?
So, and I'll put this as, I'll put it pretty bluntly. I didn't give a crap about prison or anything like that, right? And it's not because I didn't care. It's because I think the majority of Americans who don't have to deal with it, or who hadn't had a loved one go into the prison system, they just don't know about it, right? My blinders were on, right? I didn't realize how broken the system was. When I was arrested, I was never, besides a DUI that I was parked on the side of the road with 10, 15 years ago, I had never, had any crime. All of a sudden I'm getting swatted in the middle of the day. I go outside my house and all of a sudden I have automatic weapons pointed at me and everything else, flash banged in the middle of the road. And then I'm brought into an interrogation room where they tell me flat out, if you give us everyone that you know that was there, and which then actually turned out to be more. My lawyer later came to me and said, "How do you know Roger Stone?" I said, "I don't know the motherfucker. How do I know him? I don't even know him." Well, it turns out a friend of mine is a business associate with him. They were going to link some sort of story, and it turns out that they gave my lawyer like, "Hey, we have 9 pages. We need to sign. We need to have him sign. You sign this," and he goes home immediately. Charges of misdemeanors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They kept that over my head, shipped me to like 13 prisons pre-trial. I spent $250,000 in legal fees. And for 3 years, they said, "Hey, you testify against the Proud Boys and against Roger Stone, and you go home. We'll get your, minimum charges, this, that, and the other. You're going home like immediately. Don't worry about it." I wouldn't do it. And I understand that that's, part of, catching the big fish. But there was no big fish. They were literally making stuff up. When I was in prison, I learned prison and then mostly jail. I was pre-trial for 3 years, 3.5 years, 3 years. Again, no discovery, none of this. And I learned the ins and outs of the federal system. And it's disgusting. It's not just me. It was a lot of people said, "So, how's it feel to be black now?" With a straight face. And I said, "Damn, dude, this sucks." And he goes, "Yeah, how would you like it if a Fed literally gave you narcotics to sell, and then they turn around and bust you 2 years later on a kilo charge or bigger," right? And that happens all the time. And it's entrapment. Flat out, it's entrapment. And you'll never win against the feds because they have an unlimited budget. It's just, you can't win against them because, again, they'll just start shipping you around. They won't give you discovery. They make up their own rules. They have judges in their pockets. It's disgusting.
Yeah. So while you were sitting in the cell, did you feel betrayed by Trump or did you feel
No.
proud of what you did?
No, and people say, "Oh, well, you know, Trump made you do this." No, he didn't. No, he didn't. What made me do this? Now, true. Trump said, "Hey, everyone, come to the Capitol. You know, it's going to be wild." But it was floating around the internet for 2 months that there was always going to be a march to the Capitol, and on top of that, there was planned protests at the Capitol. There was permitted protests, multiple permitted protests at the Capitol that day. The feds yanked them at 9:30 that morning. So a lot of people don't understand that. It was all over my Facebook feed. March to the Capitol, march to the Capitol. You know what I mean? There was feds inside the crowd. I mean, this is all going to come out in the next 2 weeks. 2 weeks, a month, give or take, with Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, what they just said. But the whole thing is, it's disgusting. They wanted to push a narrative, and they did push a narrative to the majority of America using mainstream media, just like they've pushed a narrative for the past 40 years to lower income housing and about certain groups of people, and not just you know, Trump supporters, but whether it be certain groups of blacks or minorities or this or that, or the, you know, or the Jews or this or you know, Palestinians, or it goes on and on and on and on. I mean, look at it after 9/11. Everyone said, you know, oh, it's the Muslims, it's the Muslims. Was it? I'm just asking a question. You know, yeah, it was, but was our government involved? I don't know. I'm not putting on the tinfoil hat. I haven't looked into it enough. But our government has been misrepresenting the American people for as long as I can remember, and way before that, as long as, I mean, really, it got bad the last 50 years, since the 60s and 70s. That's when it kind of up-ramped, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, it was before my time, but everything that I'm reading, that's where it really, really up-ramped.
So do you think if this was 2020 and it was Black Lives Matter, do you think they would be in the same situation you were in?
Well, two things. One, I think it was because of all the BLM protests that cops were like, hold off, don't use, you know, ammunition and whatever, even though they did. But I think that this whole thing was 100%, and it's going to come out in the next 2-3 weeks, month and a half, that a lot of this was set up by the Democrat Party, as was the Black Lives Matter, you know, quote unquote riots, right? So they were planned protests that went on, right? Democrat Party gave Black Lives Matter a bunch of money, said, hey, we need you to start this. All of a sudden, Antifa and other groups started riots inside of these Black Lives Matter, you know, protests. They became big things, and then you had, you know, across the nation, you had, you know, destruction. Do I think that it was because of that we didn't get fired upon? It was also because of that January 6th even happened, because they couldn't let Trump win again, right? If I had this argument with a ton of people inside of prison, and they said, oh, well, if it was black folks, they just would have shot us. I don't think so, because if you look at the pro-Gaza marches after January 6th on the Capitol, a couple of them, the one at the Cannon building and the one at the Capitol building itself, the other one was, they were just let in and they kind of went to the lunchroom. But those two had spray on both sides. They had, if you look at the pro-Gaza one at the DNC building, physically assaulted cops. If you look at the pro-Gaza stuff over at all of the college campuses, where even in DC, where, you know, multiple cops were assaulted, they took over buildings, everything else. None of that happened, right? No one opened fire because they were terrified of opening fire and then, you know, going to jail. So I really don't think that it would have had any different scenario, but I do kind of say that it was because of the BLM protests that both that January 6th happened, and then also that there wasn't, you know, snipers going out. There was also no one that was armed, you know, or if there was a couple people armed, it was because they never brandished the weapons or anything like that. But I don't think it would have had, you know, much difference because, again, facts show that the pro-Gaza people stormed the Capitol and the Cannon building, and they didn't get shot. So,
yeah. So I guess I'll open it up to other people who have questions. I got a lot of questions, but as far as your mission and what you're doing, what is your solution, or what do you want to see come from this?
Right. So, again, I have food allergies. I was in Northern Neck, Yeehaw, Virginia. I have celiac disease. So that whole gluten-free thing, right? Like, I actually physically need it. I can't, bread will kill me, you know, pasta, can't eat it. So they didn't feed me for 3 weeks straight. I mean, I had a couple insured drinks and then a couple meals. Literally 2 meals in 3 weeks. I lost 30 pounds in 3 weeks. I lost another 30 pounds at that jail. And then since then, 60 pounds total, right, over a course of a year. I saw things that no human should ever see another human do to someone, especially in an authority position. I saw people, and it didn't matter, white, black, whatever. I say that in my notes. I also have like 5,000 pages of daily notes and grievances against these jails, which it's only thanks to the other inmates that they actually made it out, because they would hide them. They would keep them in their, you know, in their pillow and whatever. And just because they knew that my cell was going to get raided. And that was white, black, brown, you know, purple, yellow, it didn't matter. So what had happened is, after I got out, we actually are writing a book. It's called Defiance. There's a guy, Robert, he's helping me write it right now. We're going through it. It's going to be absolute bombshell. But so after I got out, right, I told these POSs that all these cops and, you know, the warden and everyone else, I told them that in a year, 2 years, eventually I'm going to get pardoned, and I'm going to come back here and I'm going to talk to you in your boardroom as a free man. And that's exactly what I did. Still dealing with PTSD, stuff like that. I went straight to supporters. And that was the one good thing about January 6th, right? Is with all of us getting locked up, the one thing that we had that no other real group of incarcerated people had is we had a voice. Because we had supporters across the nation that said, hey, listen, this is screwed up. Why are these guys being treated like this? Why am I facing, you know, a 17-year prison sentence as my first offense? Like, this is crazy. So we had supporters. So I went back to a supporter's house and I changed my address temporarily to a local resident. Then I went back to the board meeting. And I told all of them that what they were doing was illegal, and I gave proof. Hey, listen, you know, this and this and this and this. And I lost 10 pounds the first week, and the 20 pounds the second week, and 30 pounds the third week. And then they called me out on Twitter, and it got my interrogation originally, my first interrogation, got 3.4 million views in 48 hours before the Fed shut it down. I had never been on Twitter before in my life. It then got when I went back to the jail, it got like way less than that. It got like 180,000 views in like 5 days. A lot of those people I found out were senators and congressmen from the Virginia state. We're not talking Fed here because it was a private prison, which these private prisons need to be shut down. Or they need to be forced to abide by the federal and a certain standard, which they don't. So there was already a bill called HB 2105. You can look it up. It's actually going into effect July. It was always supposed to be brought in front of Congress and the Senate of Virginia. And they were told maybe 6 months if you're lucky. Well, this whole, I guess 5-minute speech or 4-minute speech went viral. And within 4 days, HB 21 was passed unanimously between the House and the Senate, Democrats and Republicans. Everyone said we have to get in front of this. So, and then Youngkin signed it. RICO charge, no. They were trying, but they couldn't. They were trying to catch the Proud Boys up on a RICO charge. And they were trying to get Trump in on a RICO charge. That's why they wanted me to, brings me back to my interrogation. That's why they wanted me to talk about Roger Stone and how he made me go there and stuff like that, which never happened. So I'm being asked about the inside job. It was 100% an inside job. So if you look at it, if you look at what happened, there were feds in the crowd. There were informants in the crowd. The police were set up just like we were set up, right? All of us were set up. They had DOC, Department of Corrections, and also BOP, Bureau of Prison, people who they flew in, right? Paid them double time and whatever they wanted. And they said, okay, you're here to defend. And they said, okay. Well, a bunch of these BOP employees, some of them that I served time with, they were guards. They said, so they were told, okay, you go over to this monument. Okay, you guys go over to this monument. Okay, you guys go over to this monument. And they're over there like, dude, we're in the Telegram groups. We're in the 3%ers. We're in the, the Oath Keepers. We're in. Why are we going to the Capitol? Everyone's going to the Capitol. And they were like, don't worry about the Capitol. We got the Capitol covered. So they purposely limited security. They 100% did not. There was the 20,000 National Guardsmen that Trump said, hey, bring them in. I'll pay for them. Federal government will pay for them. Bowser said no. I mean, there was something in the air that day. You could feel it. Yes, 100%. I was charged with everything under the sun. I was charged with 111Bs, 111As, which is assault with a deadly weapon, 111As, which is just assault, and then being on Capitol grounds and this and that and whatever. I pushed some cops in the tunnel. Someone handed me a can of mace. At that point, I'd been concussed multiple times, beaten the head with batons. They struck first. I mean, I saw someone who I thought died right in front of me. Turns out he didn't. He was a Gulf War vet. He just collapsed right in front of me. And that was because they were cooking stun grenades and flashbangs. They would pull the pin and cook them in their hand. 1, 2, 3. Then they would let them loose so that they would purposely blow up about head high. You can see a lot of this. They opened fire with rubber bullets on mostly a peaceful crowd. from an elevated position, all headshots. You can see that in the last headshot was Josh Black. He got shot through the mouth, and it was lodged in his cheek, blood all over the place. So my biggest assault was me going up to the cop, throwing my arms around, you know, blah, 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 blah. Sorry, having a hard time moving this arm. I just got 8 hours of tattoo work. So I'm moving my arms, and then someone, and it turns out to be an Antifa member, Landon Copeland. He admitted to being an Antifa member, by the way. He pushes me from behind. I fall into the cop. I never get, in my interrogation, the FBI agent says, "You never hurt anyone. Don't worry about it. Like, you're good. Just give up the names. You're going home immediately. Misdemeanor charges. Don't worry about it." Well, after we get that video from the feds, 4 months after January 6th, all of a sudden this cop, Robinson, all of a sudden has chronic back pains and everything else. And my points shoot from like a 26 all the way up to a 35 because of that, which then gave me 4 years compared to 17 and a half years. Like, the whole thing was just complete BS. I should have had bond. We were giving up over $1 million of houses for bond if I would have ran. My house alone was worth, you know, $650, something like that. And then we had 2 other houses, her parents' house, my ex-wife's parents' house, and then my parents' house. So well over $1 million in houses. Like, there's no reason why I should not have gotten bond as a first-time offender. In fact, the New Jersey judge says, "Listen, you're getting bond. You have a brand new kid. Are you going to run, Mr. Quaglin?" I said, "No." He goes, "No, you're not going to run. You know why? Because you have a brand new kid and you're going to lose 3 houses, and you have a 2-month-old baby boy, your first child. I don't think you're going to run. You've never been charged with a crime before. You're going to put an ankle bracelet on, and that's what's going to happen." Well, the feds immediately break it back to D.C., and it goes in front of Judge Boasberg. Boasberg? Yeah, I think Boasberg. It goes in front of Judge Boasberg, and she says, "You made my friends run for their lives on January 6th. You're not getting bond." Nope. For sure. That's crazy. Like, and it happens all the time. It happens all the time in the feds.
Yeah, the feds, that I hear a lot about it. Slim, Chris is a January 6er. He's now doing prison reform. I know you agree with him where it's a Democrat inside job. Do you have questions for Chris?
Oh man, questions. Questions is not really the word. First off, I want to say salute. Thank you for what you've been through. You know what I mean? You didn't have to go through it. I'm known as the conspiracy theorist man on the show. I've been saying this for a long time. There's video evidence of everything that you stated. That's why I sit back and I just listen. Unfortunately, a lot of people that I love didn't want to watch the videos. They didn't want to believe a lot of things. And every time I mentioned the Democrats set it up, people would look at me like I was insane. And it was clear to see that Arizona was the key to this. You know, Trump actually came out late. Everything, it was a setup. I saw it. You know what I mean? I seen it. That day, I wish I was there, but I was there in spirit. I was there watching. And I remember it when Arizona did not approve it. That's when everything hit the fan. And they knew, because prior to that, Trump actually said he wanted the National Guard. It was Pelosi that did not go forth with what Trump was stating. And all that happened on the Democrats' watch. It was all set up by the Dems. Just like you said, they did not want Trump to win. So from that point on, I had to do more research. And it was why. It was more so of why don't they want this man to win? What is it that he has on them? And just like you said, what it is the last 50 years, they've been manipulating us as a people destroying us internally, health-wise, however you want to look at it. And this is one man that's here to stop it, and it's going against their agenda. So they're willing to do whatever it takes to keep him from being in office. I saw that from the day, man. So I don't really have questions because I know what you went through, because I was the guy following this ever since January 7th. So again, I salute you.
Chris, did you want to respond to that?
I mean, I appreciate it. There were a lot of people in jail that were pro-Trump and said, listen, man, there's no way Trump didn't win. Like everyone I know, and we're talking when I was pre-trial in Newark, New Jersey, right? I was the white guy. So as soon as, which was a couple weeks, or a week after, like my cellie was like, bro, he's cool. You know what I mean? Like he's not a snitch. He's not a chomo. And he's not a racist. Like he's cool. Like, yeah, he likes Trump. Yeah. And this is when January 6th stuff was going all over the news. Hey, Quag, you're on the news again. And I was like, no, we just all look alike. And that was the joke. Yeah, it was pretty obvious. Once we got into the feds towards 3.5 years later, everyone said, listen, man, you guys were set up. And they said, when I was going up against, and I was in DC or Lewisburg, actually, because we were actually in with DC guys at that point. In DC, they had separated us because they had called us all white supremacists, the guards now, and higher ups, like the warden at the time and other things like that. Lieutenants, captains had all called us white supremacists and, white nationalists and KKK members and everything else. So it wasn't safe for us in the DC jail. So then they separated us and they gave us like our own pod or whatever. But once I moved into Lewisburg, we were with a bunch of DC cats. It was myself and 2 other January 6ers. And that's when they really were like, hold on, man, these guys are like hated, because they said, listen, we know, never go up there. You don't cross that line, because once you cross that line, forget about it. You don't mess with those people. I said, man, screw those people. I said, man, then that's why they're offering you 8.5 years as a plea bargain. They wanted everyone. This is the original agenda, was to get everyone to say Trump made me go there. If they had enough people to do that, then the RICO started, the RICO stuff started popping off. If they had people like me and a few others who had indirect ties that they could then say, no, that's a direct tie to Trump. And, Roger Stone, told Trump, where Trump told Roger Stone, which then told so-and-so, which then told so-and-so. Oh, it's right here in writing. Here it is. There's the RICO. So that's kind of why Robert, who is writing this book, I'm just kind of giving him what happened and everything like that. Because he's going to write a much better book. You know what I mean? Let the writer write the book. I'm just going to tell him, no, this is not right. This is not accurate. This is accurate. This is no, you got this backwards, that type of stuff. He heard this story and he said, you realize that it could have changed the election? I said, yeah. I said, why do you think? And I had to keep my mouth shut about this whole Roger Stone thing, because at that point I had never talked to the feds. I mean, my interrogation is 10 minutes long. It's open source. I know Enzo has seen it. The one thing that my original cellmate called Man Down, his street name, right? So he was a crack dealer from where was he from? Patterson. He was a crack dealer from Patterson. And he said, listen, man, he goes, I voted for Trump. All my family voted for Trump. He goes, but it's not going to matter. They tell you either you snitch or whatever. And he goes, you got to do time. You're going to do some pretty hard time. You're cool. If you're cool with me, you're going to be cool with 99% of the people in there, as long as your paperwork is good. And you got to look yourself in the man, or as a man, you got to look yourself in the mirror. And I listen, I still haven't held my son. It's been 4 years, but
sorry to hear that.
I appreciate it. And we're fighting the custody battles, and we're going to win. Right. But eventually I'm going to have a conversation with him. And I'm going to say, Nathan, I couldn't do that. I couldn't take another man away from his family just so I could be home with you. That's called being a man. That's called standing up. You know, I couldn't teach you. Your first thing that I ever teach you is it's okay to throw someone else under the bus. No, you got to be a man. When you stand up as a man, you face your consequences. Right, wrong, indifferent, but you do two things. You stand up for what you believe in, and you stand up if you do get caught, and you face the consequences of your actions. End of story.
Hey, I got another question for you.
Yes, sir.
So, Slim, along with me, Enzo, we all conservatives for Trump. We get a lot of statements saying we only rock with Trump because Trump is cool, or it's the cool thing to do. It's what's in now. We don't really believe this stuff. And I wanted to ask you, what makes you choose to be a conservative, Republican, if you fall into that, or why do you rock with Trump? But like on a personal level, family, all that, what makes you a conservative?
So every time I took a test, political test, I was more libertarian with conservative views. I took one recently. It wasn't like a real in-depth one. Ever since I've been out of prison, I would like to do one again because my views have changed a little bit. But the real thing, why I rocked with Trump, and I rocked with Trump when there were 17 other Republicans up there, right? Back in 2016, I said, Trump's going to win. And they said, you're out of your mind. I was a Trump fan for a year and a half prior to the election. And they said, well, why do you think he's going to win? I said, because everybody hates him. That's why I like him. Because he's a little crude, but who isn't, right? Who hasn't said some stuff behind closed doors that if it got out and you were running for Congress or running for president, that it wouldn't hurt you, right? But when he started talking about how basically the government has been destroying this country for years, which Doge has now proven, that's what made me vote for him. When he said plain and simple stuff that he was getting crucified for. Strong borders. Obama said strong borders. Clinton said strong borders. Everyone said strong borders. But he's getting crucified for it because he says, let's build a wall. It was just common sense to me. Like the government, as a gun owner, especially, I dealt in New Jersey. New Jersey is the worst, man. We call it New Germany because it is the worst, man.
He's not wrong.
It is the worst. And for the fact that, and let me speak out of turn a little bit, but as a Black American, how can you not be conservative? Either A, you drink the Kool-Aid and you're going to go on every single welfare, Section 8, this, that, and the other. Every single Democrat
Program.
Well,
Yeah.
bribe.
Incentive,
bribe. Yeah. Either you're going to go full tilt on that side, or if you want to open up your own business and, hire who you want to hire and run your business how you want to run it and have low taxes and have this and have that. And then you have your kids, and maybe you are in a nuclear family, that you're still with your wife, or even if you're not with your wife, you're taking care of, you're paying the child support, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing it the right way. How could you not be a conservative? You don't want to pay for what you see. I don't want to pay for, forget about even blacks. I'm talking about the illegals, because in Jersey, in Newark, New Brunswick, man, I've seen so many illegals out there with their EBT cards and their this and their that. And I'm walking out to my 1992 Ford Ranger, right? And they're walking into a 2012, brand new, all souped up Escalade. I said, how is this right? I can't get that EBT card. You know what I mean? Like, this is crazy. I don't want it. And they're illegals. Like, I don't want to pay for it. Yeah. To me, it's common sense. Either you go one way or you go the other way. And I'm pretty sure that's why the country is so divided right now.
Hey, you said something earlier.
Hold on, I want to give it Easy and Enzo, because you got to do your video. Easy, do you have a question for Chris?
Yeah, I just want to say salute, man. You're definitely brave, man. You're a brave person, brother. That's all I got to say for real.
Thank you.
Brave.
Like I said, they hate it. The one guy I still give money to in the feds, he's there for life right now, from Chicago. He said, you got to quit making your life so difficult in jail and in prison, man, because they're gonna either kill you or they're gonna send you somewhere. And they were. If Trump didn't win, I was going to what was it called? A CMU, Communication Management Unit, and they had one in Terre Haute, and it's about 20 or 30 people in it. You're allowed one letter out a week, and try getting that letter out. And it was filled with true terrorists, Al Qaeda, ISIS. And what they do is they kill people inside it. Once they get down there, they kill people inside of there so that they go back up to ADX, because they're treated better in ADX. But that's where I was going. But yeah, I bucked, man. I knew deep down that on January 20th, and I told J6ers this for 4 years. They can vouch for me. I said, man, January 20th, we are out, bro. We're out. Or January 21st. We're out. That's it. He's winning. Said it for 4 years. I knew it. God had told me it, that there was always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. Just like he stopped me at J6. Quick question. Yes.
So essentially, you're stating that these people try to make examples of the J6ers because you guys were Trump supporters, pretty much.
Not only Trump supporters, but that we had the audacity to buck the system, right? And I mean the system like, hey, you better stay away from us. Like, you better stay away from Capitol Hill. You better stay away from this. You better stay away from, even though there's, on the Democrat side, there's protests up there every week at Capitol Hill. Every week there's a protest. But they made examples of us saying, you better never do this again. Before, and it's not just us, but before this, I forget the woman's name, but she blew a hole in the side of the, she had like some sort of bomb, and she blew a hole in the side of the Capitol building. She got like 26 years, right? And then I think Obama pardoned her. But don't quote me, but I'm 99% sure Obama eventually pardoned her. But
Yeah, he's a clown.
like she gets 26 years. Enrique Tarrio gets 22 years, and he wasn't even there. He was with a hooker in Maryland because he had been told to get out. I mean, but because he was on his computer, it's like, hell yeah, guys, give him hell, you know? And all of a sudden he gets 22 years. Like, that's crazy. I was facing 17 years. I told my judge when I was getting sentenced, he goes, Mr. Quagland, you ready to get sentenced? I said, Judge, it really doesn't matter because in 8 short months, Trump's going to be in and I'm going to be out. He didn't like that. Then I called him Trump's worst mistake of 2016. He didn't like that either. But yeah, I mean, screw him. I mean, I knew deep down, like I knew that like we were getting out. And I had made promises to hundreds of individuals that I would do my damnedest to get prison reform passed. And there are a few of us in the J6 community that are really pushing for this. Like my hope is to get some big donors. This is like my true goal shortly is to get some big donors, get myself an RV, get 4 or 5 people together, go. We already have it set up. It's called J6 Tour, right? That's why you can buy T-shirts, you can do this, you can do that, whatever. But we got to get some big donors in there, and we got to get it's a big nut. It's like we put it through AI. It's like 150 grand just to start, and then we can go. And then it's to go to every 48 states, right? And to go to, I don't care if it's churches, Republican meetings, Congress, them or state Congress, go to all of them and tell them, hey, listen, you need an HB 2105 passed. And basically what that does is if there's any abuses inside of the jails, then your people can then call the local officials, whether it be state police or the sheriff's department, right? And they, by law, now need to investigate the jails. I understand that this is kind of like the fox watching the hen house, but at least then it puts another layer of corruption, right? Now there's a state cop who says, listen, I'm not losing my job because of you. You beat this person on TV or on camera. It's going in the report. Or if he doesn't, then you get AI involved and IA involved. And it's just one more step of corruption. That's the biggest thing that 2105 does. And I think that it needs to be passed in every single state, but then it needs to also be passed federally. So I'm calling out Trump. I'm calling out, even the good people that have helped us and helped me personally. MTG, Lauren Bobart, sexy little thing. I met her in jail. And after you haven't met a woman in like 2 years and she comes walking in this red little dress, like, oh.
Wow.
But even those people, they literally have said to me, MTG said to my lawyer who talked directly to her, was, what does Quagland expect me to do? I'm only a congresswoman from Georgia. So it has to be so much higher than her because the BOP and the DOC and the DOJ is on this rogue course. And both Democrats and Republicans have said this. They are so powerful right now. They need like something else needs to be done. Doge needs to go in there. They need to kill the money. And it's not just kill the money, but kill the excess spending.
Okay. So my bad. And we'll let Enzo ask the last question. And then we'll let you plug everything like that you were saying about the tour.
Yep.
Enzo, you had a question?
Yeah.
All right.
So from what I always understood and looked into everything and did all my research and everything, everything started out peacefully. After the initial protests and everything popped off, and fists started flying and everything like that, once people got inside, there was there actual like secret Capitol Police walking you guys around and letting you guys roam free inside the Capitol building? Because everyone claims
absolutely there was, and it was you guys, right? It wasn't me. I never made it inside.
Right.
I will say, not for lack of trying, but if you made a right and went around the building, the door's unlocked. Like there's video footage of white shirts saying, come on in, like that. I mean, there's video footage of it. If you go to Tommy Tatum News, I know he's on Facebook, on X. The problem is he releases so much stuff, he's got to go back and then just breadcrumb it and really start to idiot-proof it. We really need, if you watch there's a good video called The Real Story of J6, or The Real Timeline of J6. The Real Timeline of J6. It's by stophate.com. You can also see, if you want to see me get pushed into that by an Antifa member, you can go to 1000daysofterror.com. It's a 5-minute video. Start with that one. That one is the prequel to the hour-long video. That will break down January 6th like nothing else has. I mean, there's just so much disinformation out there, and then they call these independent journalists and stuff. They call them fake news. Well, it's right there. We're literally watching the 44,000 hours because it's been released to the public. It's not fake, and all of this is about to come out. When Cash and Bongino just said, hey, we just had a plethora of stuff that just showed up, the January 6th committee literally deleted 120 minutes of video from the whole 144,000 hours. But it was 120 minutes across every single camera out there. So you won't see all of the stuff that is now out. They never showed it to the public. They just showed the reaction. The initial action, I'm praying for someone to get this. On January 7th at midnight, right? That same day, 10 o'clock, January 6th, 10 o'clock, to all the way to like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm on a loop on Fox News. Find it. I'm getting beat in the head 7 times with a collapsible baton. I never touched the cop. There was a fence in between us. There was some hate, some waving, but all of a sudden, listen, people get pissed after that. They never arrested one person that day or that during the incident. They maybe handcuffed him, but then they let him go. They had every chance in the world to handcuff me and bring me out. They didn't. They had every chance in the world to handcuff other people and bring us out. They didn't. Why? Because they wanted it to continue. It was, I mean, the whole thing from the headshots to the concussion grenades to everything else.
Chris, thank you for coming. You told us definitely a lot. I learned a lot. It's great to actually talk to someone that was there, because the media says a lot. It seems like you seem very reasonable. So just tell everybody, I know you talked about your tour, like where to find you, where they can donate at, and tell us what you thought of the Man Cave.
So on X, it's J6 Tour. And you have my name there. On Facebook. Everywhere else, it's The Persecuted Patriot, all one word. On TikTok, I'm probably about to get banned off of that. But on TikTok and on Insta, it's The Persecuted Patriot. Or you can just look me up. You can go to j6tour.com. and literally everything is there. You can also buy some kind of cool shirts. You can buy this flag. I got another flag up there, and everything goes to the tour. Trying to get it going, but again, we need some bigger donors. Like if there's anyone selling stuff online, trying to get to like Black Rifle Coffee and stuff like that. We need to get some things moving. Otherwise, this tour isn't going to happen, and it's a shame because I think for prison reform, like I said, we're talking about three things: government overreach, prison reform, and what really happened on January 6th. Not necessarily in those orders. You know, some places we're going to be talking about prison reform hard. And that's the main thing. Because again, we're going to be going and trying to get HB 21 passed in all originally 48 states. And once we get it passed in 2 or 3 states, 4 or 5 states, 10 states, then Trump is going to have to look at that. And we could get that done in the next year. We have like 70 something stops already planned. It's going to take us a year. That's what it's going to take us, a year and a half. Now we can cut down some of those stops and just go to the important ones. But I mean, we're hitting colleges, we're hitting everything. So we just need funding.
What'd you think of the man cave?
Hey guys, I had an unbelievable time. Honestly, I'm going to tell a bunch of J6ers. I'm going to, give me the link. I'm going to throw it out there. And once I throw it out to my people, you're going to have a list of people coming.
Chris, go ahead, Vogel. You can take over. You probably going to jump straight into the main topic. I don't know if Chris will stay for that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't know if you had time, but the main topic is dealing with Tory Lanez and the situation he's going through with Megan Thee Stallion. So they're trying to get him out because the trial was just a whole sham, in my opinion. But
I haven't eaten dinner yet.
All right, that's what I figured. Chris, we'll appreciate you for coming. Yeah. We definitely gotta bring you back.
Yeah, man.
Most definitely.
I want to say thank you guys. Honestly, I had a blast. Thank you. Enzo said that y'all were cool people, and he's, he is.
You try.
Thank you for coming, man. Thank you for finding my stream and talking to me and telling us everything. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, like I said, anytime you want to have me back up.
For sure.
Right. I'm gonna reach out to you.
Can't wait for my shirt too.
Also.
Hey,
right.
Yeah, cool. Man, this guy is 65 years old. I told him, I said, when is he gonna get his shirt, bro? It should be in the mail like Tuesday.
It's all good. I appreciate it. Right. I'm gonna buy a couple more because I got a couple people I'm gonna give it to.
All right, Chris, you have a good night.
Have a good one,
Chris.
Guys, thank you very much.
All right. Go ahead, Vogel.
Cool. Main event. Somewhere over here. Or not.
Great job, Enzo.
I mean, listen, he stumbled across my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to. That's the conversations that needs to be talked about. Not even just because of that day, because everything that they're doing behind the scenes too. And I'm gonna loop you in with Nora too. What I was just telling her before. I'll talk to you off stream about it.
For sure.
Here we go.
She trying to say that X-rays were fake. So Representative Luna, who told Megan Thee Stallion that she got 36 hours before she dropped evidence, has now come out with some more information before them 36 hours. Please pay attention because people think she's re-saying old stuff. She's not. She says that new surfaced body cam footage and new medical records show Megan Thee Stallion initially claimed she stepped on glass. We know. And ER records showed there were no bullet fragments on the X-rays, and bullet fragments allegedly removed are now missing. She's trying to say that Megan Thee Stallion did in fact have glass in her foot. That the X-rays that she has now show that it was not bullets that were in her foot. She also stated that it was a 0.01 chance that Tory's DNA was on the firearm. There were 4 other people's DNA on the firearm. That Tory Lanez was the only one tested for gunshot residue. She calls out the witness contradictions, the immunity deals with unclear motives. Because as everyone been saying, why does Kelsey have immunity. Them using raps and tattoos against them in court. Witnesses admitting that they lied to the DA and that they changed their stories, contradicting themselves. Also that multiple of his constitutional rights were violated when it comes to the First Amendment, the Sixth Amendment, and the 14th Amendment. And then we still gotta wait 36 hours for whatever evidence she claims that she's about to drop that's about to mess up the internet. So we on a countdown right now, everybody. What do you guys think about this?
All right, I know you want to attack this, Slim.
Man, free my boy Tory Lanez.
Free Tory.
Yeah, man. If y'all listen to his album, he pretty much let a lot of information out. I forgot the song though. There's one particular song that he mentioned in the Rock Nation Lawyer and all that stuff, man. So, but the whole album is dope. So I kind of like heard it as I was listening to the album. But you know, it all started when that happened to him. To be honest with you, if he wouldn't have made it, I don't think this would be coming out. So karma strikes in multiple ways. And I think there's a lot of things about to be dropped. Again, we live in, like Kat said at the beginning of the year last year, yo, it's the year of the truth. So this is where we are, man. I mean, I'm really not surprised. Tory should not be locked up. I don't believe he shot that woman. And I believe she stepped on glass because I saw that before. When it first came out, I seen the live video cam myself when it first came out, if you guys remember. And she had her hands out, and the cop asked her, what happened to you? She's like, oh, I just stepped on glass. And that's what it was. I saw that. And then like 2 weeks later, it was said that he pulled the trigger on her. So, you know, free Tory Lanez, man.
Enzo?
So, since the beginning, like I only know little bits and pieces of the case whatsoever. I thought it was bullshit from the beginning too. Tory Lanez should not be locked up whatsoever. There's more shit in the background with this that's gonna come out with this, and at the end of the day, he shouldn't be locked up. And it's just ironic how we talked about it last time. A couple days before this all came out, he got stabbed 14 times. I mean, that right there was either to get him to shut up or to make sure he never speaks again about this entire thing. Because he's, once he gets out, one, he's going to protect himself because that happened in jail. Someone's going to come after him when he gets out. And two, he's going to talk about it. He's going to say exactly what happened and what it was behind it. So that's free Tory at the end of the day. I want to know what really happens.
Man, like I said, all this is a business. I know y'all hate when I come in and say this, but the reason why it's easy to poke holes in this case is because it was never about the evidence. It really was just about Megan made this claim. It just seemed like these courts don't care now. Like they're going to side with these women when they play victim. And to me, a lot of that is nature. If you think about it, men are in competition. If you go back to just being primal, it used to be where two men would fight. Lions still do this. Two men would fight. The winner takes the spoils. I don't know if you ever heard that saying or not. And to me, that's in these courts now. If you can keep a man distracted, keep him locked up, whether it's child support, putting him in jail, whatever it is, it's too easy for the systems to do this. It's just natural to do. And for him to get out and be able to fight against it, you're literally letting somebody out to come back and fight. They don't want that. Once you get into this type of situation, they want you down, they want you gone. So it's just a part of society that's just like, we don't care. If it was a woman, it'd be different. And then the other part of it, a lot of this stuff is just the 304 retirement plan. If it's Megan Thee Stallion, if it's Cassie, all of them are cashing in somehow. And I kind of just felt like, my opinion, Megan was pissed about Tory being sloppy with the friend. And that was her get back. To lie, she knew she lied. And she's not gonna come out and say the truth. A lot of toxic people are like this. They're gonna go to the grave. They know they lying, but they don't want you to know they lying. And to me, that's all it is. And for this Republican, was it a representative to come to the defense? To me, she sees that. It's like she values family, she values men, and she's trying to help Tory out because we can all see it's bullshit. And now they're saying that she stepped on glass. It had nothing to do with bullet fragments. And if that's true, I'm like, who allowed all this to happen? Who allowed him to go to jail? And if he get out, all these people need to pay. The judge, to me, everybody need to pay.
Yeah.
For me, what I was saying, because I don't know if they talked about it. Anna Paula Luna, the senator, she's the one bringing this up with Tory Lanez. She's actually a senator from my area. She's Mexican, and her relatives got unalived by some gang members. My personal connection with her is that my girlfriend's godmom worked with her on beach nourishment, and they went to Joe Biden to try to get them to give money to the National Guard because the beach is going further back. So on a local level, she kind of does more stuff. So she's not a Republican I really have like an issue with. So also with Tory Lanez, her saying this makes me feel like, okay, at least there's a Republican. Even though Trump has done some prison reform, she's doing some type of prison reform. And it's nice to see a January 6er say that to somebody that's a Republican. And then I know that's what we talked about. But I think the case should be re-looked at. And I just think that it's a crazy situation. Easy?
Yeah, I want to say the court system is messed up, man. Where was the evidence at when he was going through actual trial? I mean, these prosecutors, man, like sometimes they got their head up their ass, you know what I'm saying? They're not really paying attention, or a lot of this stuff is like one-sided, since he was a female, they lean towards the female side, which is biased, is very, very biased. So that's all I want to say about it.
No, what's going on is a public lynching. That's what this is. It's basically saying, boy, get back in your place. That's what it's a message to all of us. Like, boy, sit down. That's really what's going on with this, because there's no way he should be in jail other than they're trying to keep us in our place. And a lot of these men, like, and then, you wonder why a lot of men are just opting out. You see a lot of women on the internet now just shaming, saying men they don't approach me like they used to. They don't do this. They don't court. They don't open doors. Yo, we don't want to be bothered. If dealing with you is going to put us behind bars, a lot of us don't want to be bothered. It's too high of a risk now. And then the courts and the lawyers are just ready to put us away or take your cash. That's even, like I said, that's even shown to me, that's what's shown in the Cassie case. Unless they got something else coming on that side, it's showing like, okay, dude's nasty. I get that. Especially if y'all just heard what came out today. But dude's nasty. But it's not on the line of being illegal. Huh?
You talking about Tory or Diddy?
I was talking about Diddy.
Oh, I was about to say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said with Cassie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's all the same playbook. A lot of these men who have power, if you notice, if they don't stay home, stay out the streets, then they got threats coming after them. If you, as a man, if you get money and power, you are best to stay at home, stay out the street, stay married, because the system or some woman is coming for you. Even guys that are married, you got women coming for them.
Well,
so that's really what it is now. And to me, that's what the system is. The system is pushing for women to be free and do whatever they want, and it's pushing for men to just sit down. And I don't think that's fair.
I appreciate you guys being versatile tonight. We did our first interview on the Man Cave, facilitated by Enzo. Enzo, appreciate you for putting that all together. So we'll go to you first with your final thoughts.
So thank you guys. Thank you guys for always bringing me on. It's always a great night on the Man Cave whenever I'm on. great topics tonight. I'm glad Chris was able to join us. Chris, thank you very much for coming on. Everybody on the panel, thank you guys for allowing him here and allowing and asking all these great questions to him. Overall, it was just a great episode and free Tory.
For sure. Slim.
Yeah. That was big, Enzo. That was big. That was a real special moment for myself, definitely. A whole grade took part in that information because, you know, somebody on the inside saying what I've been saying for the longest, it just confirms everything that I basically researched. So, you know, that's really all I got, man. I'm still in shock that we had that person. What's his name? Chris? What's his last name?
Quaglan.
Quaglan.
Yeah, I have to rewind that again to pronounce it. But yeah, he did his thing, man. And again, all January 6ers involved. You know, we salute you. I mean, that's something I know I couldn't have done. They probably would have took me out by then. But yeah, that was big, man. So yeah, Man Cave, man, Monday and Wednesday.
Easy.
Yeah, we about to give CNN and NBC a run for their money, huh? We got some, bro. I'm telling you, bro. That's all I gotta say.
For sure. Enzo gave Slim a early Christmas gift because we ain't gonna never be able to tell Slim ever again that it was an inside job. Like, I mean, so, but Enzo definitely appreciated because like he was very detailed and he brought up like some stuff I knew about prison to hear like what January 6ers, how they were operating in prison. He was like very visual, like he was very descriptive. And yeah, I like that, you know, we're doing historic stuff on here. Like, I know we talk about a lot of, you know, pop culture, a lot of extra stuff, but I also like when we like are doing breaking news, like Easy said, we giving CNN and MSNBC a run for their money. Like, you know, when they see independent content creators really tackling that and breaking stories. So I'm glad that we were to be able to do something historic tonight. So that was a big thing. And then, you know, we talked about prison reform with Tory and everything like that. So I'm glad we're exploring something like that because that's something I'm very interested in. Vulgar.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Enzo, for that. You know, thank God Trump was elected, because if he wasn't, we wouldn't be seeing all these truths from January 6ers to Biden's health issues. A lot of stuff is coming out of how the left, they pretty much were desperate. They didn't have a real ground to stand on to win. So they wanted to win by any means necessary. It was not about the American people, because if it was about the American people, Biden wouldn't have did 4 years. He would have just been a vice president. So it's good that this stuff is coming out. And again, free Tory. It's sad that a lot of men are having to be casualties of these 304s. And I mean, what's helpful here, avoid the Megan Stallions of the world, avoid the Cardi B's. Pretty much, you're going to have to avoid most of these women in the industry. There's only a few Beyoncés. There's only a few of these women who have careers and they got good heads on their shoulders. As a person that's dealt with some people in the industry, I can personally tell you most of them are bullshit. Most of them got something going on and they crazy, and they will have you. I'm talking about they'll have you crazy. I've experienced it. I will tell you, they will have you crazy. So avoid those type of chicks. And I guess that's it, man. More of these truths need to keep coming out. Man cave.
Let's play the outro.
Introducing a new party. We live stream Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.